Manager, holding a toolbox. Sorry to bother you so late. The cleaning crew mentioned your heating vent was making noise? Jack was relatively new to the company, hired 6 months ago. Emma knew little about him except that he was efficient, quiet, and according to office gossip, raising a daughter alone after his wife's death. His presence always made her inexplicably nervous, not because he was intimidating, but because of the gentle way his eyes seemed to actually see her. Yes, it's been making this rattling sound. Probably nothing, but... No such thing as nothing when it comes to building systems, Jack said with a small smile. Mind if I take a look? Emma nodded and stepped aside, watching as he moved with practiced efficiency. At about 40, Jack had the weathered look of someone who had faced his share of storms. His hands were strong but moved with surprising gentleness as he worked. How's your daughter? Emma asked, remembering the photo on his desk of a smiling girl with her father's eyes. Lily's good. 11 going on 30, he chuckled. Science fair this weekend. She's built this whole ecosystem thing that I barely understand, but she's excited. You're going alone? I mean, Emma stumbled over her words, immediately regretting the question. Jack paused his work, looking at her with those perceptive eyes. Yeah, just me. Been just us for 3 years now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry. You're not prying. It's nice to be asked, actually. He turned back to the vent. Most people avoid the topic altogether, like being a widower is contagious. Emma felt a surge of connection. People do that with illness too. Like if they acknowledge it, they might catch it. Jack nodded, understanding passing between them. Found your problem, he said, pulling a bent piece of metal from the vent. This was vibrating against the duct. Should be quiet now. Thank you, Emma said, suddenly aware they were alone in her office after hours, the building nearly empty. Jack packed his tools, then hesitated. Ms. Matthews. Emma, please. Emma. I've been wanting to ask, there's this food truck festival this weekend, after Lily's science fair. Nothing fancy, but they have these amazing tacos, and Lily's been begging to go. Would you maybe want to join us? The question hung in the air. Emma felt her heart race, the familiar panic rising. He was asking her out, this kind, handsome man with gentle eyes was actually interested. I can't, she said automatically, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. Jack's face fell slightly, but he nodded. Of course. I understand. It was just a thought. No, it's not, Emma felt tears threatening again. 3 years of loneliness crashed down on her. It's not you. It's just, no one wants to date me. Not really. I find that hard to believe, Jack said quietly. You wouldn't if you knew. The words escaped before she could stop them, her voice barely a whisper. Knew what? Emma felt something break inside her, the dam holding back 3 years of fear and shame. Maybe it was his kind eyes, or the late hour, or simply exhaustion from pretending to be whole when she felt so broken. This, she whispered, and in a moment of either courage or madness, she turned away from him and lifted the back of her shirt just enough to reveal the beginning of the scars that wrapped around her torso. The silence that followed seemed eternal. Emma closed her eyes, waiting for the awkward excuse, the hasty exit she'd experienced twice before. Instead, she felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. Emma, Jack's voice was soft but steady. Look at me. She turned, letting her shirt fall back into place, unable to meet his eyes. I'm not going anywhere, he said simply. Emma looked up then, searching his face for pity but finding only warmth. My wife had breast cancer, he continued. I watched her fight for 2 years before it took her. I know what scars mean. They mean you're a survivor. Emma couldn't stop the tear that slid down her cheek. Most men don't see it that way. Then you've been meeting the wrong men. Jack's smile was gentle. I'm a package deal with an 11-year-old who talks about microbiomes at breakfast. You're a successful woman with battle scars. Maybe we could just be real people together, and see what happens? For the first time in 3 years, Emma felt something unfamiliar bloom in her chest, not hope exactly, but possibility. I do like tacos, she said finally, a small smile breaking through her tears. The food truck festival was alive with colors, smells, and the sound of laughter. Emma watched as Lily excitedly pointed out each truck, her science fair ribbon proudly pinned to her jacket. Dad says you're his boss, Lily said, studying Emma with curious eyes. I am, technically, Emma replied, but your dad is pretty much in charge of keeping the whole building running. Lily nodded seriously. He fixes everything. At home too. Except feelings. He says some broken things just need time and patience. Emma glanced at Jack, who was ordering their food, his shoulders relaxed in a way she never saw at work. Your dad seems pretty wise, Emma said. He cries sometimes, Lily continued matter-of-factly. When he thinks I'm asleep. Mom's birthday was last month. Emma felt her heart constrict. That's because he loved her very much. I know, Lily said. But he's lonely. Are you lonely too? The directness of children never ceased to amaze Emma. Sometimes, she admitted. But not today. Jack returned with 3 loaded tacos, saving Emma from further heart-to-heart with his surprisingly perceptive daughter. As they ate, laughing at Lily's dramatic retelling of her science fair triumph, Emma felt herself relaxing. There was something comfortable about being with Jack and Lily, no pretense, no need to be the polished executive or to hide her vulnerability. Later, as Lily ran ahead to look at a dessert truck, Jack's hand found Emma's. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Lily hasn't stopped talking about meeting you all week." "She's amazing," Emma said honestly. "You've done a wonderful job with her." "I'm figuring it out day by day," Jack admitted. "Some days better than others." Emma squeezed his hand. "That's all any of us can do." As the evening wound down, walking back to their cars under a sky turning purple with sunset, Emma felt Jack hesitate. "I'd like to see you again," he said. "Just us, maybe? Dinner?" The familiar fear flickered, but it was fainter now. "I'd like that," she said. "But Jack, I need you to know what you're getting into. The scars are just the visible part. I have checkups every 3 months. I still have nightmares." "I'm not." "Emma," Jack interrupted gently. "I spent 2 years watching my wife fight a battle she couldn't win. I know about the nightmares and the checkups and the fear that never quite goes away. I'm not looking for perfect. I'm just looking for real." He reached out, his fingers lightly touching her cheek. "And for what it's worth, I think you're beautiful. Scars and all." Their first real date was at a quiet restaurant where Jack told her about meeting his wife in college, their early struggles, and the joy of Lily's birth. Emma shared her diagnosis, the terror of facing mortality at 35, and the loneliness of recovery. Their second date was at Emma's apartment, where she showed him her collection of vintage vinyl records, and they danced slowly to Ella Fitzgerald in her living room. Their third date ended with Jack gently kissing her goodnight at her door, his hands never pushing, never rushing. It was on their 6th date that Emma finally found the courage. They had been watching a movie at Jack's house after Lily went to bed, his arm around her shoulders, her head resting against his chest. "Jack," she whispered, her heart pounding. "I want to show you." He looked down at her, understanding in his eyes. "Only if you're ready." Emma stood, her fingers trembling as she slowly unbuttoned her blouse. The living room was dim, lit only by the television and a small lamp, but she felt exposed in a way that went beyond physical nakedness. As her blouse fell open, revealing the network of scars that crossed her abdomen and wrapped around her side, she held her breath. Jack stood and gently took her hands in his. His eyes never left hers as he leaned forward and placed the softest kiss on her forehead. "Thank you," he whispered, "for trusting me." Then, with a tenderness that broke something open inside her, he knelt and pressed his lips to the largest scar that curved across her stomach. Emma's tears came then, not tears of shame or fear, but of release. Jack stood and held her as she cried, his arms strong around her, his heartbeat steady against her cheek. "I've got you," he murmured into her hair. "I'm not going anywhere." 6 months later, Emma sat in the oncologist's waiting room, her hand clutching Jack's so tightly her knuckles were white. "It's just a routine checkup," he reminded her gently. "They're never routine for me," she admitted. "Every time, I'm convinced they'll find something." Jack brought her hand to his lips. "Whatever they find or don't find, we face it together." The appointment went well, still cancer-free, but the familiar anxiety had taken its toll. That evening, Emma sat on her couch, emotionally drained. "Move in with us," Jack said suddenly. Emma looked up, startled. "What?" "Move in with us," he repeated. "Lily adores you. I love you. Your lease is up next month anyway." "I know it's fast, but—" "Yes," Emma interrupted, surprising herself with the certainty she felt. "Yes, I want that." Jack's smile lit his entire face. "Really?" "Really," Emma said. "But what about Lily? Shouldn't we talk to her first?" Jack laughed. "She's been asking when you're moving in since our 3rd date. She's already planning to redecorate the guest room for you." Emma felt a wave of love for this man and his remarkable daughter who had somehow seen past her scars to the person beneath. The day Emma moved in was chaos, boxes everywhere, Lily excitedly showing Emma where everything should go, Jack trying to assemble a new bookshelf that seemed to be missing half its parts. That night, after Lily was asleep, Emma and Jack sat on the back porch of what was now their home, looking at the stars. "Are you happy?" Jack asked, his arm around her shoulders. Emma considered the question, thinking of the journey that had brought her here, the pain, the fear, the loneliness, and now this unexpected joy. "I am," she said, and realized it was completely true. "I never thought I'd have this again. A family." Jack kissed her temple. "You know, when Sarah died, I thought that was it for me. I figured I'd just focus on raising Lily and accept that the love part of my life was over. What changed? Emma asked. Jack smiled. I saw you. Not just at work, but really saw you. There was this day, about a month after I started, when you were helping the receptionist who was upset about something. You were so kind, but also so present. I remember thinking, there's someone who understands loss. Emma leaned into him. And here I thought you just liked my management style. Jack laughed. That too. But mostly, I liked how you never pretended to be perfect. Even before I knew about your scars, I could see you were carrying something. And you carried it with such grace. Emma thought about the woman she had been a year ago, locked in her office, convinced no one would ever want her again. Thank you, she said softly, for not going anywhere. Jack's arms tightened around her. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. 1 year to the day after their first date, Jack took Emma back to the food truck festival. Lily ran ahead with friends from school, giving them a rare moment alone. I have something for you, Jack said, reaching into his pocket. Emma's heart skipped as he pulled out a small box. Jack. He opened it to reveal a delicate ring with a single pearl surrounded by tiny diamonds. It's not traditional, he said, suddenly nervous. But neither are we. And pearls, they're formed around an irritation, a wound. They transform pain into something beautiful. Like you. Like us. Emma felt tears forming as Jack knelt on one knee, right there among the food trucks and festival goers. Emma Matthews, our story didn't start the way most love stories do. We both came with scars and history and baggage. But I think that's what makes what we found so precious. I love you, your strength, your vulnerability, your heart. Will you marry me? People around them had stopped to watch, but Emma saw only Jack, this man who had taught her that her scars were not the end of her story but simply part of it. Yes, she whispered, then louder, yes. As Jack slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her, the crowd around them erupted in applause. In the distance, Emma could see Lily jumping up and down with excitement. Later that night, as they lay together in the darkness of their bedroom, Emma traced the outline of Jack's face with her fingertips. Did you ever imagine we'd end up here? She asked. That night in my office when I showed you my scars? Jack caught her hand and kissed her palm. I hoped, he said simply. I hoped we'd get the chance to heal together. Emma thought about the journey they'd taken, from two broken people to this family they were building. Her scars were still there, both the visible ones and those carried in her heart. But now they were part of a larger story, one that included love and second chances. I'm not going anywhere, Jack whispered, echoing the words that had changed everything a year ago. Emma smiled in the darkness. Neither am I, she promised. Neither am I. 5 years after their wedding, Emma stood in the doorway of their backyard, watching Jack teach 16-year-old Lily how to change the oil in her used car, a sweet 16 present they'd saved for together. The afternoon sun caught the silver band on Jack's finger, sending a flash of light across the driveway. Emma's hand instinctively went to her abdomen, feeling the familiar ridges of her scars beneath her t-shirt. They had faded somewhat over the years, but they would always be there, a permanent reminder of both what she had lost and what she had gained. Mom! Come look at this. Lily called out, waving Emma over. The word still brought tears to Emma's eyes sometimes. It had happened naturally about 2 years into their marriage. Lily had simply started calling her Mom one day, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. They talked about it that night, all three of them, making sure Lily knew it was okay to love both the mother she had lost and the one who had found her. What am I looking at exactly? Emma laughed, approaching the pair who were both smeared with grease. Dad's showing me how disgusting oil gets when you don't change it regularly. It's like car blood, but all gunky. Jack grinned up at Emma from his position beside the car. Creating a responsible vehicle owner here. Very important life skill. Emma teased. And it has nothing to do with you two loving to get filthy with car parts. That's just a bonus, Jack winked, standing up and deliberately wiping his greasy hands on a rag before pulling Emma close for a quick kiss. Gross, you guys. Still right here, Lily groaned, but her smile betrayed her. She had told Emma once that seeing them happy together helped her imagine what her birth parents must have been like before her mother got sick. Go clean up, both of you, Emma said. Dinner in 30 minutes, and Grandma and Grandpa will be here soon. As Jack and Lily headed inside, Emma took a moment alone in the driveway. Tonight was special. They were celebrating her 5-year cancer-free milestone with Jack's parents, who had embraced Emma as a daughter from the moment they met her. 5 years married. 8 years cancer-free. A lifetime of moments she once thought she'd never have. The doorbell rang, interrupting her thoughts. Emma headed inside to find Jack's parents already being enthusiastically greeted by Lily. There she is. Jack's father boomed, opening his arms for Emma. The woman of the hour. 8 years, Jack's mother said, her eyes shining with tears as she hugged Emma tightly. What a blessing. Dinner was a joyful affair, with Lily regaling everyone with stories about her first year of driving and her plans for college applications next year. Emma watched her family, this beautiful, unexpected family that had found her when she thought she was destined to be alone, and felt a fullness in her heart that sometimes still surprised her. After dessert, Jack clinked his glass with his fork. "I'd like to make a toast," he said, standing. "To Emma, who showed me that love doesn't just happen once in a lifetime. Who became not just my wife but a mother to Lily when we needed her most. Who fights every day with a courage that humbles me." He looked at Emma with the same tenderness she'd seen that night in her office years ago. 8 years ago, you showed me your scars and thought I would run. Instead, they showed me who you really were, a warrior. I'm still not going anywhere, Emma. Not ever." Emma felt tears spill onto her cheeks as everyone raised their glasses. Under the table, Lily squeezed her hand. Later that night, after Jack's parents had gone home and Lily had retreated to her room with promises not to stay up too late texting friends, Emma and Jack sat on their back porch swing, the same one where he had asked her to move in all those years ago. "Happy anniversary," Jack said softly, handing her a small wrapped package. "Our anniversary isn't for another month," Emma said, confused. Jack smiled. "Not our wedding anniversary. It's been exactly 8 years since that night in your office, the night that changed everything." Emma unwrapped the package with trembling fingers to find a small leather-bound journal. Opening it, she saw Jack's handwriting filling the first few pages. "What is this?" she asked. "I started writing to you that night," Jack explained. "After I got home. I wasn't sure if you'd ever let me in, but I wanted to remember how I felt, seeing your courage, your vulnerability. I kept writing, through our dating, our engagement, our marriage. One entry every year on this day." Emma flipped through the pages, seeing dates marking the passing years, Jack's thoughts and feelings captured in his steady handwriting. "The rest is blank," Jack said, "for all the years ahead of us. For you to write in too, if you want. Our story isn't finished, Emma. It's still being written every day." Emma leaned into her husband's embrace, thinking of the frightened woman she had been, hiding her scars and her heart behind a locked office door. How far she had come. How far they had all come together. "I love you," she whispered. "Thank you for staying." Jack's arms tightened around her. "Always," he promised. "Always." Above them, the stars shone in a clear night sky, witnesses to a love that had begun with a whispered confession and a promise that continued to be kept, day after day, year after year. A love that had transformed scars from marks of shame into badges of survival, proof that sometimes, the deepest wounds can lead to the greatest healing. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means everything as we continue to share stories that remind us all that our scars, whether visible or hidden in our hearts, don't define our worth or limit our capacity for love. Sometimes the most beautiful journeys begin with the words, "I'm not going anywhere." 10 years into their marriage, Emma sat in the hospital waiting room, her heart pounding with a familiar anxiety she hadn't felt in years. But this time, she wasn't the patient. Jack was behind those swinging doors, undergoing tests after collapsing during his morning run. "He's going to be fine, Mom," Lily said, squeezing Emma's hand. At 21, she was home from college for the summer, her presence a comfort Emma hadn't known she would need so desperately. "I know," Emma nodded, trying to believe it. "Your dad is strong." But fear had settled into her bones, a cold companion she recognized all too well. The irony wasn't lost on her, after all these years of Jack supporting her through checkups and scans, their roles had suddenly reversed. "Mrs. Reynolds?" A doctor appeared in the doorway, and Emma stood on shaky legs. "That's me. How is he? What happened?" The doctor's face was serious but not grim. "Your husband had what we call a minor cardiac event. Not a full heart attack, but a warning sign. His artery was partially blocked, but we've inserted a stent, and he's stable now." Emma felt her knees weaken with relief. Lily's arm went around her waist, supporting her. "Can we see him?" Lily asked. "He's in recovery now. You can see him in about 30 minutes. He'll need to make some lifestyle changes, medication, diet, stress management, but with proper care, he should make a full recovery." As the doctor walked away, Emma sank back into her chair, tears finally breaking free. "I can't lose him, Lily. I can't." Lily knelt in front of her mother, taking both her hands. "You're not going to lose him. Dad's too stubborn to go anywhere, remember? He promised you." Emma smiled through her tears, remembering Jack's words from all those years ago, "I'm not going anywhere." When they were finally allowed into Jack's room, Emma's breath caught at the sight of him. Her strong, capable husband looked suddenly vulnerable in the hospital bed, monitors beeping steadily beside him. His eyes were closed, his face pale. "Jack," she whispered, moving to his side and taking his hand. His eyes fluttered open, focusing slowly on her face. A small smile formed on his lips. "Hey, beautiful," he murmured, his voice rough. Sorry for the scare. Emma leaned down to kiss his forehead, her tears falling onto his cheeks. Don't you dare apologize. Just focus on getting better. Lily moved to her father's other side, trying to look brave despite the fear in her eyes. Dad, you're supposed to wait until I'm at least 30 before you pull stunts like this. Jack's smile widened slightly. Noted. Sorry, kiddo. The doctor says you're going to be fine, Emma told him, stroking his hair back from his forehead. But you'll need to take it easy for a while. Jack groaned. I hate taking it easy. Well, get used to it, Emma said firmly. Because I plan to be extremely annoying about your recovery. Payback? Jack asked, a glint of humor in his tired eyes. Absolutely, Emma confirmed. All those years of you hovering over me during my checkups? My turn now. The following weeks were a blur of doctor appointments, medication schedules, and dietary changes. Emma took a leave of absence from work to care for Jack, despite his protests that he was perfectly fine. You didn't leave my side during my cancer, Emma reminded him one evening as she prepared a heart-healthy dinner. Not once in 8 years of checkups and scares and middle-of-the-night panic attacks. So please, let me do this for you. Jack watched her from his seat at the kitchen island, his eyes soft with understanding. It's different being on this side of things, he admitted. I don't like feeling vulnerable. Emma set down her knife and moved to stand between his knees, cupping his face in her hands. Remember what you told me? Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage. Jack leaned his forehead against hers. Using my own words against me. That's fighting dirty, Matthews. It's Reynolds now, she reminded him with a smile. Has been for 10 years. Best decade of my life, Jack murmured, pulling her closer. As summer turned to fall, Jack gradually regained his strength. His doctors were pleased with his progress, and the medication was working well. Lily returned to college with reluctance, extracting promises from both parents to call her immediately if anything changed. On a crisp October evening, exactly 15 years after they first met, Jack suggested they take a walk through the neighborhood. The trees were ablaze with color, and the setting sun cast everything in a golden glow. Should you be walking this far? Emma asked, concern creasing her brow. Jack took her hand, bringing it to his lips. Doctor said moderate exercise is good. Besides, I have something to show you. They walked in comfortable silence until they reached the small park at the end of their street. Jack led her to a bench overlooking the pond, where ducks were settling in for the evening. Sit with me, he said, patting the space beside him. As they sat, Jack reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Jack? Emma questioned, confused. We're already married. He smiled, opening the box to reveal a ring with 15 small diamonds arranged in a circle. 15 years ago today, I walked into your office to fix a heating vent and found the woman who would fix my broken heart instead. Emma felt tears gathering as Jack continued. When I had that episode, I realized something. All these years, you've been worried about leaving me because of your health. And I've spent 15 years trying to show you that your scars and your fears don't scare me away. But now I understand better what you've been feeling. He took the ring from the box. This is a renewal of my vows, my commitment, my promise. I'm still not going anywhere, Emma. Not by choice. And I'm going to fight like hell to stay right here with you for as long as I possibly can. Emma's tears spilled over as Jack slipped the ring onto her right hand, next to her wedding band. 15 diamonds for 15 years, he explained. And plenty of room to add more as we go. I love you, Emma whispered, leaning into his embrace. So much. They sat together as twilight deepened around them, two people who had faced mortality and found in each other the courage to keep living fully despite the fear. You know, Jack said thoughtfully, when I was lying in that hospital bed, all I could think about was you. Not Lily, not work, not even whether I would live or die. Just you, and how grateful I was that I walked into your office that night. That I saw your scars and recognized them as badges of honor rather than reasons to run. Emma looked up at her husband, this man who had taught her that love wasn't about finding someone perfect but finding someone who saw your imperfections as part of your beauty. We're quite a pair, aren't we, she said. Both a little broken, both a little scared. Jack smiled, the lines around his eyes crinkling in the way she loved. Not broken, he corrected gently. Just human. And not alone. Never alone. As they walked home hand in hand under a sky turning to stars, Emma thought about the frightened woman she had been, whispering, "No one wants to date me," in a locked office. How wrong she had been. How beautifully, wonderfully wrong. Life offered no guarantees. Her cancer could return, Jack's heart could trouble him again, the future held no promises. But they had today, and each other, and a love that had been tested by fire and emerged stronger for the burning. And that, Emma realized, was enough. More than enough. It was everything. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Life's greatest love stories aren't about perfect people finding each other, they're about real people choosing to stay, day after day, through illness and health, through fear and joy. Remember that your scars tell the story of your strength, and the right person won't just accept them, they'll honor them as part of the remarkable journey that brought you together. Thank you for sharing in Emma and Jack's story, and may it remind you that sometimes the most powerful words in the world are simply, "I'm not going anywhere."